the 2-0 win over Burnley in the Premier League. Another win, another clean sheet, a comfortable win as well. Lovely to see a goal from open play to, for the naysayers to maybe silence them a little bit. Wasn't quite the perfect day. We will talk about the injuries, the injury to Gyokeres in a bit, but just first of all, with the overall result itself, was the only complaint that Arsenal didn't score more goals?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, they could have done definitely. If the kind of Saka had his shooting boots on, then it would have been at least three or four. But it was a really solid performance. It was very routine. I've said that word so many times this season. It's like all that felt very routine. Just Arsenal cruise up there, get the win, get a couple of goals, score from a set piece, keep a clean sheet, job done. Just very little drama. And there's so much drama usually about following Arsenal. The last couple of years, like silly red cards, mad refereeing decisions, injuries all over the place, late goals, all that sort of stuff. It's always felt exhausting watching Arsenal almost. It's very different this season so far, on this run anyway, since they've really started motoring. It's just very, very drama free. And that's exactly what it was. I didn't love the second half performance. I was up there and sort of where I was in the press box is right at the back of one of the main stands surrounded by Burnley fans. And you could say in the first half, the Burnley fans were just sitting on their hands, just seeing Arsenal absolutely dominate. But you could feel in that second half as it wore on, they were just getting their spirits lifted a little bit. And I didn't love what Arsenal were doing. It was just giving them a little bit of hope, I thought. Never looked massively in danger, but I could see Mikel on the opposite side to me getting very animated on the touchline. And I'm not surprised because all it took was one silly thing to happen and suddenly Burnley got a bit of belief they're back in the game. So I didn't love that. But the first half, was excellent from Arsenal. A couple of goals could have been more utter domination. XG of 0.00 for Burnley at the end of that 45 minutes. Didn't have a shot, didn't have a touch in Arsenal's box. It was a really excellent performance in that first half. Got the job done, of course. And then maybe it was just a bit of cruise control after the break.
Certainly so, yeah. And what you said about it being like a drama-free, not just game, but mostly a drama-free campaign so far. Because I was looking at I did a piece on Chelsea's red cards the other day, and I was looking at the Premier League fair play table. Arsenal actually they have the best disciplinary record this season. Only 10 yellow cards, level with Man United, but they've had one red card, and Arsenal haven't had a single sending off in the Premier League this season, which after the events of last year, like you said, the silly red cards is maybe scarcely believable. So yeah, how much pride can Arteta and the players take from that record as well?
Yeah, I mean, they can take pride. It's really important, though, I think. That killed Arsenal last season. It just stopped the season getting going at all, the red cards. I mean, some of them are very, very debatable, of course. I'd put a load of blame on some Arsenal players for some of the ones that were given, some very questionable decisions. But it made it very, very difficult. You're playing with 10 men, seemingly every other week at a time. And that's hard enough. But then what it also puts in terms of the demands on the other players, that can lead to injuries because they're having to play, cover more ground, all that sort of stuff. It was really, really important that discipline was good this season, and they've started very, very well in that regard. I mean, touch wood. I don't want to put the cursor on it at all, but you keep 11 players on the pitch. This Arsenal team keeps 11 players on the pitch. They're going to win most of the games that they play because they're just better than everyone else, and they're better defensively, and they'll always score goals going forward. So it's just absolutely vital. You do nothing silly this season. It really cost Arsenal last season, and yeah, at the moment, it's going very, very well.
It's great to see them stamp that out after last year. And I did mention it. It wasn't quite the perfect day. We'll talk about the Gyökeres injury in a bit. I mean, it was so frustrating for him because that first 45 minutes, he was brilliant in all facets of the game. Obviously, he got a poacher's goal, quite a carbon copy to the Atletico one. Gabriel going around the back post, not to get back into the mixer. And then that phenomenal pass, one of the passes of the season for Trossard to cross in for Declan Rice. I mean, first of all, I think you agree, was that Gyökeres' best 45 minutes in an Arsenal shirt so far?
Yeah, undoubtedly. He was really, really good. Obviously, the goal was nice. It's what you want to see. I love the fact he's actually, in the last few games, we've seen him score a couple of goals, really sort of scrappy ones in the 6-yard box, because that's what I was sort of complaining about him earlier on in the season, that he wasn't in there to finish off those chances where I thought he really would be early on. So that was good to see. But it's just his all-round game, his touch, his hold-up play, his link-up play. He was just on it at the weekend. Everything was sticking. He was bringing players into play. He set up 2 great chances for Bukayo Saka. So should have got a couple of assists there, or at least one assist. You'd think back Saka to tuck one of those chances away. His play for the goal, as you said, down the right-hand side, and then the drill pass to Trossard was exquisite. It was just his best performance by a distance, I thought. And so it was just such a shame what happened after that. There was no sign of it. And then when he didn't turn out for the second half, you just thought, what has happened there?
Yeah, just like Saliba going off at Palace at halftime, you think, okay, this can't be tactical. This has to be, this is a big concern whenever a big player goes off at halftime. And yes, he is now confirmed. Arteta said the word muscular at full time. We immediately think, oh, that's a concern. He's out of the game against Slavia Prague tonight. There's still no real firm word from Arsenal on how serious it is, but with anything muscular, you can't help but worry. And he is Arsenal's only senior out and out centre forward right now. Jesus is still out for several more weeks, looking like. Kai Havertz might be back after the internationals, but still no guarantee. So, how big a concern is this for Arsenal? And also, was it maybe inevitable given that Gyökeres has started most of Arsenal's games so far this season?
Yeah, potentially so. How big a blow it is, I think it's a massive blow. There's no doubt about it. I was a little bit worried after Mikel's comments in the press conference yesterday. He didn't exactly paint a rosy picture when he was talking about Gyökeres. So I was hoping to get some quite positive news from Mikel at the press conference yesterday. I was down at the training ground watching training session yesterday, and it was obviously we were told he wasn't going to come out, and we'd hear from Mikel later on in the evening. So I was hoping that we'd get good news from him, and it didn't exactly fill me with confidence what Mikel had to say. I've heard a couple of things, but nothing like that I could say definitely in terms of what it is. But when he's talking about, oh, it's really important because he's such an explosive player, immediately there your head's thinking hamstring or something like that. And that would just be a massive blow. The fact it happens just as Kai is, about to come back is just even more disappointing because it's going to mean that if Gyökeres is out for any significant amount of time, then suddenly Havertz is going to have to be thrown straight back in. You can't ease him in because there's no other option at the moment. So that'll be really disappointing. I just wanted to see the two of them play together anyway. You saw how good Gyökeres was against Burnley after having the rest against Brighton, not playing in midweek, and say just looked re-energized against Burnley. And with Havertz back, that could happen a lot because he could just rotate and keep everyone fresh and keep them fit. And I was really looking forward to them playing together at times as well. But look, I'm talking like it's definitely going to be out for a long time. I don't know that yet, but it's a big, big blow. It's a big blow, no doubt about it. The fact that Arsenal now got this super squad, massive squad, and we're suddenly back to Mikel Merino playing up front. It's just like, how has this happened? How has this happened? All the injuries are in the forward department, which is crazy.